Hi, Nicole Ben Simon here. I hope everybody is doing well despite the constant changing environment. And if you are not coping and if you are struggling, I hope you have somebody to reach out to, a friend or family. There's always somebody to talk to. There are support groups because we can be feeling very lost and very uneasy with what life is presenting to us if we don't have the internal strength and stability to withstand the changes that might be happening in our lives. Today, I wanted to talk about the value that we hold with ourselves and our own value system. A lot of how we feel about ourselves is conditioned. I mean, we were all born perfect. We were born perfect. We came out of the womb pure perfection, and we always have been pure perfection. Unfortunately, through conditioning, whether it's family, parents, religion, culture, society, we have been told that we have to be a certain way, have to believe a certain thing, and if we don't conform to those, pigeonholes, almost like little boxes of what is expected of us, then we feel inadequate and we feel we question our own value. And I guess this is what I'd like to talk about today, because I feel that a lot of people allow themselves to be disrespected by others because they don't feel that they value themselves enough, and therefore they don't see the value in themselves, which allows them to be treated less than what they are. I see this in work environments. I have a friend who's been mistreated at work, and not only has she been mistreated at work, but she hasn't the treatment hasn't been addressed, and it's been thrown back at her that she's doing the wrong thing. But in fact, it's devaluing the person. It's making them feel unappreciated and making them feel as though they have created the problem. And I guess in a way, it is a form of bullying, and this sort of behavior happens when people are in power but don't come from integrity. They don't come from that place of really caring about the other person. It could be just caring about the money that person can, provide for the business, but not necessarily, working with integrity, and not coming from a place of really valuing the people that you work with. And so therefore a lot of people feel that they come to work, they give all of their efforts for their job, and they don't get appreciated for what they do. And in fact, only when something goes a little bit wrong, that's when they get called in. So I'm just wondering how things can change, and we can actually pinpoint on the things that are going well. And when our staff are doing a great job, that's when we commend them, and that's when we value them, and we call them in to the office, for good news, not for just bad news. So I guess when you value yourself, you are able to set boundaries where you don't allow yourself to be used and mistreated by others, because you know your own value, and you know that you can provide a service for a business, and that if you are not being recognized for what you are offering, then you within yourself can find a way to seek an environment where you are being respected for who you are and for what you're doing for a service. You know, I know that there are lots of big companies that are really providing, you know, like just these beautiful things for their staff, like, you know, like massages in their lunch breaks, or, you know, yoga, mindfulness, you know, really investing in their staff, because basically if you invest in another person, then they will invest back into you. But if you hold yourself, you know, as a, you know, manager or a CEO as being higher than them, then they're always going to be focusing their energy on getting away with things behind your back, you know. So how we value ourselves is really important, and in every aspect of our lives, you know, even in a relationship, you know, if you don't hold yourself in a place where you know your value, then you will attract people who don't hold high values and standards for you. And often women, you know, and men find themselves with abusive partners because they haven't valued themselves enough to say, no, I'm not putting up with this. And, you know, a lot of people who don't actually do the work on themselves, you know, end up leaving one abusive relationship and then getting into the exact same one, just with a different person. So it's all about really taking that time out to really look at yourself and look at the value and what you can give to another, and set boundaries, because nobody has the right to measure you from their own perspective, because everyone's perspective is different. So if you know who you are truthfully, then you will not allow yourself to be treated disrespectfully. And so I think that a lot of people who actually do start to do the work on themselves and you know, discover how to meditate and really have that time with themselves, and are okay to be on their own, don't always need to be, you know, with friends all the time, because, you know, a lot of the growth happens when you are on your own. A lot of the aha moments and, you know, the friendships that are not working, they just fall away if you allow them to. So we often are given an opportunity to be the best version of ourselves if we put in the time and effort to really recognize what is our truth and what makes us happy and content within our being. And if you're in a you're in a great relationship and you've got a job that you love waking up to in the morning, and you have time on your own to go and do yoga or run or anything, whatever hobby it is you have, and you have the time to catch up with your friends, and you've got a balance in all areas of your life. You've got your health, so it basically, when you give yourself permission to fulfill all those areas in your life, that's when you're valuing yourself. That's when you're saying, you know what, I love you, family, but I need a couple of hours a week to myself to go and do what it is that I need to do. It's not being selfish. It's actually loving yourself enough to know that in order for you to be functioning optimally, you need to make sure that you have a good balance in your life in all areas, and you seek out the time and the energy to make sure that you're fulfilled, because otherwise over time you just become quite resentful, and then the best parts of yourself don't show up. So I guess the theme of today's discussion is really, how much do you value yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? You know, what do you know that you can change if you set boundaries? So that's the question today. I know that as time has gone by, I have set more boundaries, and I don't allow toxic people and situations to be in my energy field, because I know that I'm very nurturing, and I'm a very highly emotional person, and so I don't want to get drawn into drama. So I just see that when friendships or when situations are not agreeing with me, I remove myself from those situations. So that is me setting healthy boundaries for myself. So yeah, how much do you value yourself, and can you find ways to make sure that you act in from a place of self-love? So have a lovely evening. It's evening here in Melbourne, 6 o'clock. So yeah, we will catch up soon, I guess.